Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week we're talking all about the lunar eclipse in Virgo, as well as Mercury retrograde in Aries and Pisces. But in case you missed it, last week we talked about what happens before the retrograde, aka Mercury entering Aries. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything that you need to know about Aries season and how it affects you.
And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So the first thing happening this week that you're going to want to pay attention to is the lunar eclipse in Virgo that happens on March 14th at 2:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that could be March 13th if you're in a different time zone. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know. Lunar eclipses are essentially supercharged new and full moons, and this would be a full moon. This eclipse will be spotlighting the themes of practicality, organization, and wellness, all Virgo themes. It's a time when you need to release what's no longer working out in your life so that you can create space for more of a balanced approach in your day-to-day life, specifically as it pertains to those Virgo themes of organization, wellness, and practicality.
How you will feel during this eclipse, your emotions will be very intense because eclipse energy can be a little bit unpredictable. This can create some nerves or even just more of a desire to stay organized. During the eclipse, you might notice that there's more of a focus on reassessing your routines, whether they work for you or not, and addressing any other habits or mindsets so that you can align them to support you, your life, and your goals.
So where this will show up in your life, you might start noticing that there is changes, or you want to make changes to your daily habits or even your work environment. You might feel drawn to attend like a wellness workshop, or might feel the shift to focus more on your health and getting yourself organized. So your own day-to-day routines might shift. You might feel drawn to cleaning up your life, literally or figuratively. And you might notice that other people around you feel the same way.
What will become important to you? During this eclipse, you're going to be more focused on creating structure and balance in your life. You might find that you are willing to let go of any patterns or unhealthy habits in your life so that you can be a little bit more intentional with the routines and habits that you were doing in your everyday life.
Certain signs will be affected more than others by this eclipse. The signs that are most affected will be Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius, personal placements only. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements. And there are some aspects to this lunar eclipse that make this just a little bit more interesting. The first is that the sun is trine Mars and the moon is sextile Mars. This can bring a lot of energy. So if you are thinking about taking action on some of these new routines, new habits, anything that you want to action on to bring balance back in your life, you might feel a little bit more motivated to actually start them.
The sun will also be conjunct Saturn with the moon opposite Saturn. This is going to bring about a very grounding energy. Saturn is known for being focused on the long term. So it's possible that some of the changes that are going on in your life around this time will be a little bit more long term or have some type of long term effect. Saturn's influence is going to help you to continue building a solid structure for yourself, even if it means that you have to do some reflection.
The sun will also sextile Uranus and the moon will trine Uranus, which can bring some unexpected insights out of nowhere. When it comes to finding balance in your life again, you might find the best ideas from thinking outside of the box.
There also will be aspects to Neptune with the sun conjunct Neptune and the moon opposite Neptune. Whenever Neptune's involved, you can expect your intuition to be strong and for there to be more of a focus on expressing yourself creatively and to connect with your spiritual side.
And lastly, the moon is very, very loosely trine Pluto, which can bring an element of transformation to this eclipse. In general, eclipses are a good time to be letting go of things that no longer serve us. But if you really feel called to shed an older version of yourself so you can step into a new version of you, Pluto's slight emphasis can help you out there. The day after the lunar eclipse in Virgo, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. This will happen on March 15th at 2:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, that could be March 14th if you're in a different time zone. Mercury retrograde will start in the sign of Aries, and then on March 29th at 10:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury will retrograde into Pisces. In general, Mercury retrogrades are a time to revisit and refine how you communicate and how you process information, especially in areas that require quick decision making on the Aries front. Retrogrades are also a time for us to reflect, revisit old plans, and there is also a reputation for there being technological mishaps and some miscommunication. So that's going to be something you'll need to be mindful of during the retrograde.
How you will feel during the retrograde, you might notice that you're feeling a little bit frustrated by the miscommunication and delays that come with a Mercury retrograde. You might notice that you are going back to having conversations that maybe feel incomplete or unfinished, or like when you're talking to others, you're not able to express what you're thinking as clearly as usual. However, this does make it a good time to reflect on the way that you do communicate and to think about ways to communicate with others that are effective.
So where this will show up in your life, this could look like accidentally sending an email before you finished writing it or checking all of the details to be correct, forgetting things when you leave the house, temporary delays, running late, car troubles, forgetting to save something important when it needs to be saved. Outside of the actual little mishaps that could happen for the first part when Mercury is retrograde in Aries, needing to slow down instead of speaking too impulsively or making a decision. And then when Mercury retrograde moves into Pisces, this could look like finding new ways to get back in touch with your spiritual side, finding peace through meditation or through journaling or anything that can allow your feelings to process.
What will become important to you? During the retrograde period, you will be more focused on reflecting on your own communication style and also the way that other people communicate with you. This retrograde is also a time to listen to your inner dialogue and to think about the way that you are able to express and share your ideas. This also could be a good time to build better habits around planning, initiating conversations, and expressing yourself.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Mercury will be retrograde up until April 7th, and we will give you the entire Mercury retrograde schedule in just a moment.
The signs most affected by Mercury retrograde in Aries and Pisces are Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, and then Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, or Mars.
There are a couple of aspects Mercury retrograde will make to other planets that are worth noting. The first is on March 25th. Mercury retrograde in Aries will sextile Pluto, which can be a really good day for getting to know yourself on a deeper level and understanding how you make decisions or figuring out what is true about you and how you communicate, if you're communicating effectively or not, and how you want others to communicate with you.
And then on March 29th, Mercury retrograde in Pisces will be conjunct Neptune. This is really going to enhance Neptune's very dreamy and creative energy. Watch out for moments of inspiration and creativity while also being cautious to set healthy boundaries.
And if you want to write down all of the Mercury retrograde schedule so you have everything planned out, here is the breakdown. So it all began with the pre-shadow on March 1st. That's when the taste of Mercury retrograde began. March 3rd, Mercury entered Aries. And then on March 15th, Mercury retrograde begins in the sign of Aries.
And then on March 29th, Mercury retrogrades from Aries into Pisces. Mercury will station direct in Pisces on April 7th and then re-enter Aries on April 16th.
And then we won't be fully out of the Mercury retrograde energy until the post shadow ends on April 26th. And then after April 26th, we're back in normal communication vibes again. But that is it for this week's episode. Next week, we'll be talking all about Aries season. So if you want to know more about that, make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast, you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.